The other thing that a system can do is it can automate all of those quick action tasks that come up. Instead of spending all of your time looking at the 80% of the stuff that's going well, you're automatically notified what's not right. So you can spend those valuable time, those hours and minutes on something that's important right away without having to dig through all the things that are going on in your world. Trying to get people up to speed is another challenge, and we talk about, with an automated system, your ability to get people in and trained. We do that through a knowledge-based type system. You can do that through a live FAQ, so that people are out in the field on a program and it's new. You've trained them perhaps at the home office, or you've done some online training, but now they're out there in the real world and they're experiencing things that you couldn't have thought of when you were back at the office doing the training. Give those folks the opportunity to engage and build community so they can let you know what they're hearing, and you can help them with some responses. They can gather the dress code. They can get talking points and those sorts of things. And finally, self-serve interaction is really important for the client. And again, we recognize, and your partner will recognize, that agencies don't want to give all the information to the client. Client doesn't want all of that information. But certainly, approved data that's come through a portal system, you can let a client see a portion of that and let them feel more connected to what's going on with the program, and that's of value to both of you and will keep you better connected. Some examples of that are just the ability for a system to tell you as an individual, what are my tasks this week? I have these events that I have to work. I have these recap reports to do, or these expense reports to enter, or inventory counts to give. I also can go in, if I'm a client, I can access reporting. And again, all of the reporting should be based on approved data that has come through the system, that has come in from the field, that has been validated by the system, but approved by the management of the agency. Okay, number 3. It is true that in the agency space, you have people coming in on a constant basis as you grow and as you add new programs to your organization. And this revolving door is something that we want to try to help solve with the use of an online, well-placed digital dashboard and portal. The challenges you face are that you do have this high turnover. In fact, I would almost call it hyper turnover in many instances, and from our experience we've seen just the frenetic pace of people coming in and out of an agency. You also have a very short lead time to get programs up and running, and this would be a call out to the clients to give the agencies a little more time. How many times have we been at the X Awards and the winners go up and they're with the client and they're glad-handing each other, and they talk about how we had 3 weeks to do this or 2 months to do this, and they should have had twice or 3 times that amount of time. So that would be a call to please give the agencies a little more time. The next one is fear of delegation. And we see this all the time too, and that is where you've got a senior manager or somebody who's talented who's spending their time down in the weeds trying to make sure the numbers all work right, because they have to be right. And that's a challenge. That's where you spend too much time. That fear of delegation is an inhibitor to getting new people up to speed quickly because it's too much micromanagement. And finally, there is a great number of contract and temporary employees that work in the agency world, and we recognize that. So how do we take those people and again get them up to speed quickly and effectively? So let's look at some solutions to using a well-designed and implemented portal system. Number 1 is consistency. With a portal, we are not trying, and we and our fellow developers in the world are not trying to in any way thwart creativity when it comes to running programs or campaigns. But if you can run the rigors of running and executing a program generally are consistent across the board from program to program. And from a technology standpoint, you can automate so much of that and make bringing new programs online much easier, and you can get your people up to speed so much faster when you do it that way rather than have these silos where you're having to learn a new process with each program you might transition into. A well-organized and well-implemented dashboard system will also take care of a lot of the error problems that you see. With a manual process, you've got information coming in and you're having to deal with problems because people make stupid mistakes when they're entering information. We want to eliminate that by by giving tools that monitor and manage that. And while we can't protect against all stupidity, frankly, we can go a long way towards that. We can do the automation of those low-level tasks that are so important to the success of a program, but get that out of the senior people's hands and make sure that that's happening correctly. Relevant Knowledge Center, back to training people, getting them up to speed, giving them the access to information that they need to be successful, is all incorporated into a portal system. We're starting to see mobile access as a big deal, where we can deliver the information that people need out in the field on their handheld devices. That is something that is getting very exciting. The automated alerts side to the systems that I would recommend that you look for are so important, in that instead of having to remember to do things, the system does that for you, and it lets you know when something is out of alignment. If somebody didn't return a recap report on time, or if someone didn't turn their expense account in on time, you're not having to go chase them. The system is sending that person a reminder, and is also sending you a reminder so you can follow up on it. And then finally, something else that we're seeing more and more of is the staff rating functionality, where you can rate your team members, either your in-house employees or your contract employees. And people can be good at different things. You might want to rate on their ability to deliver a product demonstration, on their ability to interact with people, and what have you. And having that information is really valuable. And one of the other things that does is we've seen where you might have particularly a contract employer on the West Coast comes and works a program, and they do a lousy job, or in fact, you end up firing them because they're not doing their job well. And if you aren't careful, they may show up in New York 2 or 3 months later, and nobody has connected the dots to know that. So we're trying to help you protect yourself against those sorts of people. And as I said, some examples: the delivering information out to the mobile device just makes this stuff all the more real time, and then the ability to get quick alert information and the things that you need to do your job delivered to you, automated in a fashion that you can get to and get them done. We're getting closer here. Number 4, what if you have enough time that instead of doing all this busy work, all this duplicative work, all of this mindless work, you actually could take the information, know that it's well done, and you could spend the time analyzing what does it mean. This is one of our biggest frustrations, is that you spend all this time, the brands spend millions of dollars running these campaigns and programs. How do you get the maximized value out of that? So, and this is obviously a very simplistic example, but sometimes the smallest little changes can make the biggest difference on the back end. So the challenges of having the time to do this and to make changes midstream are, again, those tight deadlines I talked about. If brands could give the agencies a little more time, they could make things happen a little more effectively. We also know that you have other demands in addition to timelines that you have to deal with. You also have that inherent ability that's very difficult to make changes today to the course. And finally, there seems to be a Monday morning and sometimes Tuesday morning rush to get the deliverables ready, which we see on a consistent basis. That is a challenge for the agency side.